All right, let's clean this face. Got a used car. It's used. I'm used to getting used cars, which is fine. Shape, but I knew there was some things I knew I had to fix in it. And today I'm getting fixed. Shout out to Aaron. He's a mobile mechanic in my area. He sent me the advanced auto parts. He was like, hey, you need to go get this part so I can fix it. All right. Good morning. Advanced auto parts. And I'm supposed to get this fuel sensor, right? And it's like a whole system. And so I Googled, I was like, okay, there's one right down the street from me. I'll go. I spoke to a guy on the phone. He told me the price. And he was like $270. I was like, why are car things so expensive? I mean, I get it, but I need to go to mechanic school or something because it's ridiculous. So I said, and that's the only option? He's like, yeah. So I said, okay. He's like, well, what is it that you need to change? And I was like, yeah, the gauge on my odometer, it just stops halfway. It doesn't go all the way up. I mean, goes all the way down. So when I'm like half tank or whatever, I don't know after half tank how much gas I have in my car, which is ridiculous. He's like, yeah, maybe that's just a sensor. You don't need the whole system. Maybe it's just a sensor. I said, okay. So I go back to my mechanic and I text him, I was like, what you think, Aaron? You think it's just the sensor instead of the whole system? He's like, the whole system has the sensor. Everything needs to be replaced. You'll be fine. I said, yes, sir. So I called him back. I said, I'll go on my lunch break. So I called him back. I said, okay, yeah, we're going to hold it down. He's like, well, you got to pay for it, so you got to come in. I said, okay, fine. So I go on my lunch break, go there, and he's just like, oh, okay, hey, you called, and you called I say, yeah, I called a few times because, So I go there, he tells me, oh, okay. So yeah, we have the part, it's gonna be $2 something. My mechanic said, hey, use my name, use my discount so you get a discount. So again, I told you I was like $270 something, with taxes end up being like close to $290 something. With the discount, it's like $6 off. He's like, oh, well, it's not much. I was like, well, thank you for that beam of light. You're exuding, like, sir. So I go and I said, okay, fine. So I'm like going over and he was like, well, let me see if they have the sensor because I told you, I don't know, you're going to pay for the whole thing. And I'm just like, well, my mechanic said just get the whole thing. He was like, oh, okay. So call Aaron and I'm like, yeah, so this is it. And I'm about to pay for it. He's like, so you need the sensor the whole. I was like, yes. I said that on the phone. Oh, this is just the pump. What? How did we even get on the subject of the sensor if you get what I'm saying? Like, you mentioned the sensor because I told you I needed the system. You told me, oh, maybe it'd be the sensor. But how are you saying this is just a pump now for close to $300 just a pump? I said, I need the whole system. Oh, we don't have it. Ron's on the phone now. He's just like, is it? Y'all, Islanders have no chill. Black folk in general, we have no chill. Is it one of them young cats behind the register? I was like, yeah. And he's like, man, they don't know nothing. So I'm like, all right. So I kindly told him, that's okay. We're not gonna do it. Like, we'll be okay. So he's like, okay, do what you must. I said, go to O'Reilly's. This is Aaron on the phone. And he's like, go to O'Reilly's. And I'm like, okay. And that's down the street. Okay, I'm on my lunch break. So, okay, let's go. And then as I'm walking out the store, with Aaron, trying to get him off a speaker, and the kid behind him, well, it's probably going to be more expensive. Or it can't be more expensive than almost $300 for just a pump. It just can't be. I refuse to believe that. What they doing? Go to O'Reilly's, look up for the pump. They should have the pump. I said, okay, fine. There, tell them exactly what I need, the car I have, and they're like, oh yeah, we have that. And I'm like waiting because again, car stuff is so expensive. I'm like, how much is it? He's like, oh, 124. So not to say that 124 is not a lot of money, but when you go from being 270 something to 124 seems like 50 cents. So this is the whole system, and the sensor, he shows me his computer. He's like, yeah, that's the sensor. This is how the top look. Very thorough, older gentleman. I'm like, thank you. So he's like, okay, yeah, we can do that. I'll order it and it'll come tomorrow morning. And that was Thursday. He was like, okay, I'll order it. I said, oh, my mechanic, can I use my mechanic's discount? He's like, sure. I said, okay, great, fantastic. So he's like, oh yeah, we need to get authorization from your mechanic that you could use this discount. I said, fine, you know. So I'm making sure I call Aaron, and then he's like on the phone. I was like, hey, they need the authorization. He's like, it's me, ETT. You know, they all know him. They say, hey. I'm like, okay, let me get this part. But it worked out. I went to a different store, paid less than half, got the whole system for my car, and now ETT is in my driveway fixing my car. Thank the Lord. And once he does that, I could be in these streets, y'all. Later. God bless.